What's going on, everybody, and what's going on, folks, and welcome to the D-constructingTopics podcast. My name is David, and I'm your legendary host of this legendary podcast, the D-constructingTopics podcast, where we grab a topic and we just, whether it's history, philosophy, whatever current news, whatever it is, you come in and join and get a little bit comfortable because today we got an interesting little podcast. If you're watching on the YouTube, I'm bundled up. If you out there, you might say, hey, what you mean by bundled up? If you're listening to through Podbeam or whatever the podcast app that you listen to, you're like, wait a minute, am I running to YouTube? Hey, listen, you can, but just hold on. And I will tell you why. I'm over here with my winter gloves, my winter hat, fleece, all that good stuff. I'm almost there to the T. Maybe I needed a little mink coat, fur coat. Hey, with all due respect to those animal rights, I'm just saying just to keep myself warm because we definitely got a interesting podcast in this deconstructingTopics podcast. And we're going to deconstruct a little bit of a story that I've known for 20 years, but this story goes way back. It's a little mysterious. And I want you to just kind of put yourself in this situation. Because if you've been out there hiking, if you've been out there with Mother Nature is just notorious. And if you're in a situation or if you have been in a situation that you're fighting the elements of Mother Nature, you know what? 9 out of 10 times, you're going to lose that battle. Because whatever the weather is, whether it's, the cold, winter, the fall, spring, summer, the sun, the clouds, the water, snow, rain, Mother Nature don't play. And sometimes it don't play and it comes back out also. Don't mess with Mother Nature. And once again, do not underestimate how fragile the human body is when it comes to Mother Nature. So just grab yourself a little warm cup of cocoa, whatever it is that you want to do while you're listening to this, because it's a little mysterious. And listen, don't mind me. I'll be trying to ease your way into this crazy story because I want you to imagine this and not just imagine this, because you're going to hit the like button, because I definitely appreciate the support. Feel free to comment after this episode. Let me know what you think. Do you want to hear more crazy, mysterious stories while listening to my voice? Ooh, let's go. Let's make it happen. That was my little Blizzard kind of sound, because Blizzard is one of my favorite sounds that I tend to go to sleep on. Go sleep with, whatever your choice is. But we make it happen. And feel free to share, because, hey, listen, sharing means caring. But when you're listening to this story, the Dyatlov Pass incident is a story that I want you to just close your minds. And I did say, imagine this. 9 experienced hikers somewhere in the freezing mountains of Russia in 1959, if I'm not mistaken. In the middle of the night, they suddenly slash their way out of their tent from inside and they run to the snow barefoot. Something happened. You might say, what happened to these 9 young people who decided that in their confine of their little tent, bundle up, but it looks like something happened that led them to separate, and sadly, 9 lives were gone. Interesting story. Now, with all due respect to those victims out there, I do not want to butcher the names, because they are 9 Russian hikers, and hey, listen, the names are a little bit difficult to pronounce, so with all due respect, don't want to butcher any name. Now, the leader in itself, it's an easier name to kind of mention, which is Igor Dyatlov, which is Diatlov. Again, all the information will be in my description. So, once again, feel free to follow. But the fact is this, and kind of like the backstory, is that in January 1959, so it was a group of 10 hikers. And now the reason why I mentioned 9 is because Igor, being the leader, kind of talked the other 9 to say, hey, listen, I got something to investigate here, whatever they were doing. Because my understanding that they were part of the Ural Polytechnical Institute. So whatever it is that they were going to do, they were just going to challenge themselves to say, you know what, let's try something treacherous. And let's all in the name of research. And as these 10 hikers decided, hey, listen, let's do our thing. And my understanding, I'm going to say 9, 10 hikers. My understanding is that there were 2. And have you been in this story? Have you been in this situation where you make a decision, and I'm knock on wood that nothing happened like that, but we've been in a situation where you make the decision, your gut feeling says, you know what, I'm not going to go there. Let's just say that you were invited to a cruise ship and you, for some reason, it's like, I'm not going to go there then to find out There was an incident in the cruise ship. No lives was lost. But the fact is this, that something happened. People got sick, whatever it is. And for 2 of those 11 hikers, they decided, you know what? I'm good. I'll skip this one. So now this group was led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov. And my understanding that Igor, he was an experienced hiker. And he's going to say, you know what? If I'm going to experience something, let me reach out to my friends and my families, whatever it is, because those people will experience it. It's not like they came out of nowhere and they say, you know what? That's fine. And think about it this in life, that one of the members, and again, and I'm going to kind of fluctuate on the numbers, because my understanding is that there was supposed to be 10 or 11, but it came down to 9. But the fact that one of them just got sick and you could probably say this in a tribute that, hey, listen, life happens for a reason. So the fact that one member decided, you know what? I'm sick. I'm good. You guys have fun for me. Let's make it happen. Deep in the mountains. Hey, listen, I don't know if I've been into a mountain. I was born in Puerto Rico and there are mountains. But when I'm talking about Russian mines, I've seen clips, I've seen stuff, and you'd be like, geez, those mines are a little bit bigger than Puerto Rico. But the fact that if you're out there and enjoy the wilderness or Mother Nature and hiked in a mountain or whatever it is, it's not an easy thing. Because within those mountains, they might look as innocent, but some crazy stuff could happen. Mountain lion, whatever mountain that's out there is out there. I do apologize if I'm a little bit sniffle, but the fact is that I kind of like imagine this story or whatever it is. I kind of got myself into kind of prep myself to be in the shoes of these 9 hikers. And somewhere, I believe it's February 1959, something went wrong. Despite the hikers being experienced, and they set up camp, they set up shop, they placed this little shop, this little tent in that mountain, just chilling, relaxing. Hey, listen, my understanding, that's what the hikers do. They set up shop somewhere, they rest, eat, whatever it is, they move on to the next step. For some reason in that night, and think about this is why I'm kind of bundled up, something happened. Temperatures started to decrease. There's reports of the temperatures minus 40, 30. I don't think that I ever been in my life. I'm going to go on a limb. I've never been on a minus 40, 30 degrees. That sounds to me a little bit dangerous. But if you're out there listening to this podcast and you want to do that thing, hey, by all means, just bundle up. It's the law, right? Now, can this and that be the reason why they started to kind of panic? Like, oh, wait a minute. It's getting cold. One thing is getting cold. It's getting freeze. We could freeze to death. And then sadly, once this kind of panic started happening, sadly, some of these 9 hikers started to disappear. And once the degrees started happening and so on and so forth, the next thing, they were nowhere to be found. So now there were people that knew what these hikers was going to do. So they allowed time to pass by and they started saying, wait a minute, sorry about that. Where's the hikers at? Where is that? I see the camp. I see some stuff here. And it, for the people that kind of started searching on that, it's like, hey, wait a minute, there's no discovered, nothing happens. And then slowly but surely, they start to realize, there's food, there's clothes, there's boots. It's like, what happened? What was over here that was left behind? What would have occurred that these young folks would decided to go, hey, listen, they need to leave the tent. They need to abandon ship, even though the ship was not sinking. And I'm going to say no pun intended to that, but in terms of the tent. But slowly but surely, the search party, the search party, if you will, footprints started kind of like come up. Okay, something is happening. And as they started to search, then they started finding bodies, even some naked. Ooh, interesting. Even they were so split up that they started to wonder, what's the story behind that? You got these 9 individuals that were split up. They were found naked. They were found with cuts. They were found with blood. They were found their head. They were found with fingernails missing, lumps on their head. You start to kind of wonder what happened to those. But then you start to notice, because they've been outside, 6 of the hikers, they died of hypothermia. But then the other 3 had some severe injuries, crushed skulls and broken ribs. Can that be a bear? Grizzly bear? Can that be a barefoot? For those people that believe that it's barefoot. How is it that the 3 of the 6 victims here in this story were injured so badly that you could even tell who was who? You start doing the numbers. Okay. Igor, Yuri, so on, just to name some of the victims here, broken ribs. And even some of the bodies were missing eyes. And there was one that was missing a tongue. Now, what's crazy about this? And what added up to this story is that not too far from their tent was a military base, a Russian military base. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about 1959. We're talking about the height of the Cold War between the United States and America. In my understanding, both countries, military powers, have had a history of government military experiment. Perhaps these kids knew there was something going on, because even in the United States of America, the country that I'm in, there were those people that kind of started to question the military experiments. The Philadelphia experiment, to name you a few, with paperclip. Well, that's a little different story. But, there's different government experiments that, we kind of tend to and there's those who fight back. So perhaps these young kids knew that the Russian military was conducting experiments. Because now you might say, well, why would they conduct experiments? Well, if you're in the height of the Cold War, you always have to create something to say, let me go against the United States. If you're a big fan of Stranger Things, many people out there who I listen to, I love Stranger Things. But even Stranger Things will kind of open up a little Pandora's box into what the mindset of the United States and Russia was at that time. Conducting experiments, military experiments, psychological warfare, whatever, hands on deck, whatever we can create. So these 9 kids, what are the chances? There's a military base out there. But they're in the mountains, David, right? An avalanche, perhaps? And an avalanche seems to be that one theory that might have, how can I say, play a part to it. Now, again, I never went hiking on a mountain, never been to a snow mountain. I'm going to take a deep breath. I don't know if I ever will. But hey, listen, I'm an adventurous guy, but I do have my limits. But just the fact that in the history of humanity, there's this thing called an avalanche, that it's a little tremble or a little whatever it is that happens in the mines. And there's just this big pile of snow that just comes down like a force. And it could be that while they're all eating, having fun, hey, this is Russia, having their little Russian vodka, why not? Hey, Jewelry, hey, here's some vodka for you. Hey, vodka, Oh, man, I wish I was having one right now. Cool. But to hear that rumble of the avalanche coming down, perhaps that kind of shook them a little bit. Because again, if the avalanche is coming at a full force, that means that you have seconds and even a few minutes just to react and do something. So it looks like that could be the daring. But some people said, I don't know. Now, my understanding is, again, I've known this story for like 20 years, and every year seems something different, something theory. There's always a theory that debunks the other theory, right? Wow. An avalanche seems very, very plausible. It seems very, very realistic. But I'm not going to say me, but humans, we tend to be skeptical. A military base not too far from them, and an avalanche, something don't give. But years ago, there was, investigators that decided, hey, listen, an avalanche is the thing. Sadly, hey, listen, those conspiracy theories out there, sadly, hey, listen, relax. It was an avalanche. But they would just continue with the military testing. Some, believe, hey, listen, they snooping around. Hey, have you ever snooped around and you'd be like, I didn't know that. Because the thing is this, there's some type of evidence, depending on where you listen to this, that there was some type of radiation found. Can they be radiated and kind of duped? Perhaps. But many people are very dismissive. And again, just like United States, I'm pretty sure Russia, it's one of those countries, if you will, that if something happened, therefore, the propaganda machine might say, you know what, no, radiation, you know what, maybe that was the vodka that they drank. I don't want my vodka to have radiation, but in itself, alcohol does damage if you drink a lot. And they got radiated by vodka or something like that. But the fact is this, we don't know. The other thing, too, is that there's some type of thing that is called the infrasound. That sometimes my understanding is this, that in a sense of panic, the human brain tends to either hear, see, react to things that maybe were not real. And perhaps them listening to that kind of frequency sounds cause the panic for them to say, ooh, what's going on, Jury? Igor, Alexas, that could be plausible as well. Those people out there into the paranormal and UFOs, I try to do a UFO sound. I apologize. Maybe that just came off as a blizzard, but I take it. But the fact that it was a paranormal UFO, now, hey, listen, I'll be straight up. I'm a skeptic of many, many things. But do I want to entertain stuff? Absolutely. Paranormal, again, I don't want to put myself in the future. If I go and I'm freezing, then I start to see things that's out of nowhere. I see certain people look like three people with three-headed, and then I act to it that's why I might stab somebody, or I might hit them with the hammer or something to whatever that I could find because I'm just delusional or having this illusion, perhaps. But the paranormal out there, I'm going to say it's this. We live in this world. Beautiful world that is. There's some crazy stuff that happens that nobody have no explanation. Can I say something crazy happened that we don't know that is paranormal? Sure. UFOs? We've seen UFOs always tied to, military complex and so on and so forth. That could be it. But that's one story or one theory. But what they find out once again, because this story is from 1959, and for every single decade, there was always a new story that came out that people say be some unknown creature. They say a Bigfoot in the mountains. Maybe some crazy creature that we don't know. Now, keep in mind it's this. In the history of this world, we have dinosaurs and we have some interesting creatures. Can there be a creature out there that we don't know about? There's people that believe there's creatures that it's out there in the world that we don't know about. We haven't explored. Do we want to explore? I don't know. Have you seen the stories of the military creating some creature and the next thing, they're gone and they're in the woods, they procreate and do this and do that and whatever it is. I don't know where you got this creature that now it's looking more like a human than a animal. So, hey, I want to say that's crazy, but it's a story. We just never know. It's been more than 60 years, 1959. So it's going to be, 60 years if I'm not mistaken? And it's still like a kind of mystery. Now, I'm just going to go back to why there were the missing eyes and the tongue and so on. And just to give you an idea. The latest story is this. The individual that was missing eyes, sadly, how can I say it? They fell. And somewhere down the line, when they fell, they began panic. And they just started to scratch their head or whatever it is. The individual that was naked saw that one of their mates was cold. So in a moment of kind of being a hero or heroine, there were a couple of young ladies involved, is that you take care of your coat and give to the other. And sadly, that's the situation. One was kind of missing a tongue because my understanding is this. They were trying to stay awake. They was trying to stay alive. And they were using or harming themselves to stay awake. But sadly, Mother Nature comes in all shapes, form, weather, or whatever the case might be. Love to believe in many things that happen, but it's still mysterious. At the end of the day, they found that, hey, listen, 6 of them died of hypothermia, and they became very, very delusional, and there's a word that I'm trying to look for. But in a moment of survival and survival mode, sadly, many humans will make that bad decision to do something more, how can I say, dangerous. Sometimes you might say that some of these individuals were suffering so much that in order for them to take away that pain of suffering, is to decide, you know what, if I'm going to die in the cold, let me not pretend to cover myself and just struggle. Let me just sadly take all my clothes off and not fight it anymore. It is a sad story, but it's one that, hey, was a natural disaster? Perhaps. Perhaps at least it does lead to that. Is there something that we maybe don't understand? Maybe something? But whatever happened at night, sadly, those 9 experienced hikers, they ran into that dark, no chance of survival. Even to this day, we still don't know exactly why. Again, there's theories out there. You could go and, hey, listen, I'm listening to my podcast. You're going to say, okay. Because I'm only scratching the surface when it comes to the story. There are many stories that we might not know. I love these stories. Because it makes me, kind of, wow, that really happened? What would you do in that situation? When the cold is hitting your face, when you hear a rumble that you never heard before, when you know that you are 1-2 seconds away from death, when you know that you're one good or bad decision that can cost your life. It's cold, it's freezing, I'll take it back, it's freezing, it's dark, it's gloomy, you can't even see. When you open your eyes, all that snow, you just hit in your face. You can't even talk because you could even choke on snow. Not trying to be funny here, but I'm just saying, just put yourself in that situation. 9 hikers, one ultimate decision. You cannot speak on their behalf to say it was a bad or good, But sadly, they passed away that night. So whatever happens, they still don't know why. Anyways, this is my deconstructing, and I hope that you enjoyed. It is getting a little bit warm where I'm at because I do have a lot of stuff on me because I do want to kind of feel that sense that I was in some type of a blizzard or something to that effect. But anyways, hit the like button. Feel free to share, comment. Let me know what you think about this story. If you heard this story, if it's the first time, if you want to hear, you already know. Catch me on every platform that's out there, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Podbean, and so on. Enjoy and take care. Be safe out there. Peace.